Hey guys, Mr. Happy here, and I just woke up Thursday, June 5th, patch 2.28 patch notes. So we're going to go through these real quick as well. I usually do it for those of you who are my regular watchers. I'm going to give my thoughts on some of the things. I'm going to be doing more in-depth guides on anything in here that I feel needs it. Maybe the Novus quest, well, most likely the Novus quest, and the sightseeing log probably to do all 80 sites. I've already dabbled in the sightseeing logs a little bit before doing this video, and it's going to take a while to get all those down. But anyway, let's go through these real quick. So I had something pop up. Okay, so of course we have the new weapons, the Novus weapons, the upgrade to the Animus weapons, item level 110. We get a little bit of a preview of how doing your own stats is going to work. The sphere scroll you actually use is going to determine the stats on it. For example, here you can see that the sphere scroll Gaybolg is critical hit rate 44 and skill speed 31, when the Animus's original stats are accuracy 40 and critical hit rate 28. So I'm assuming there's going to be more than one choice in Sphere Scroll that you can actually turn in for, but when you upgrade it, it's going to upgrade all the necessary stats like Strength and Vitality on top of the additional bonuses that you've set for it with your Sphere Scroll. Now, in terms of getting Sphere Scrolls, I'm going to be doing something more in-depth in that a little bit later on. I've already had some people give me whispers that they still need Mythology, of course the Alexandrite, some certain items being needed for certain Sphere Scrolls, so we'll just have to check it out in a little bit. But let's move on. New side quests. These are a sight to behold. This is going to be the quest for the sightseeing log. One man's trash and morbid motivation. Not sure what these quests are used for precisely, so let's scroll down and see if it's listed to any of the other features that have been added today. Fates, boss HP has been reduced. Nothing big. Pets in turn 3 of the Binding Coil. Grand and free companies when undertaking expert delivery missions. Players can now filter gear through the armory chest as well as sort items. We already knew that these changes to the expert delivery were being made. It's one of the worst systems they have in game, so I'm glad that they are finally working on fixing it. Prevent accidental delegation of free company leadership. A confirmation checkbox has been added to the corresponding dialogue box. That's good. Scrolling through housing, fee incurred when teleporting to a miniature aetheryte has been reduced. That's okay. So as to not interfere with interior lighting, the light on the floor, nothing major. The visual appearance of the goblet. You know, I actually have never been to the goblet, and I know that they were talking about making it a better place to live. I've got to go check this out myself in-game to see if they actually made it better. And changing the design for the stuffed Moogle so it doesn't look, I guess, as stuffed, because that looks like a taxidermist Moogle, and that's just creepy. Sounds and actions of the following furnishings no longer loop automatically. Some new partitions that are categorized as wall mounts. Challenge log. Ventures are now in the challenge log, so if you weren't doing them before, if you stopped doing them for any reason, if you want to get your challenge logs out of the way, not sure what the rewards are going to be, probably just gil, or maybe more venture tokens if you're doing the retainer ones, nothing major. The Chocobo one, now enemies have to be within 5 levels instead of 10, nothing too bad. And the Gathering one now includes things that aren't necessarily your level, like shards, carbonized matter, pigments, and maps, which is good because I, don't really do those very often, but now I might. The sightseeing log, I've been calling it the parkour log, and of course we've heard other names for it as well, both in the Japanese live letter and just people giving it nicknames. And this is basically a log of 80, I believe, 80 logs where you have to go out, you have to get to a specific location, and not only this, it needs to be a specific time of day, it needs to have specific weather conditions, and you need to use, it says the designated emote. Right now it just seems to be the lookout emote, but there may be some specific emotes you need to do later on. So Sight to Behold is a level 20 quest. You can do it after you get past the quest Self-Management, which is part of the main story, I believe. And it's actually in the Adventurers Guild of New Gridania. I can definitely tell you guys that now. I know where this one is. Don't worry, I'm working on it. What else is in here? New buildings have been added to Remnant's Toll, that's fine. And they finally officially announced that they're stopping progression of the Echo in the first coil of Bahamut. They did this secretly, they decided this without telling us. I don't want to call it a secret, but they didn't really have formal patch notes to tell people they were doing it until now. In the future, just let us know via, I don't know, a post on the forums or something like that. They did eventually, but I mean when you decide it, not like way after people have noticed it. Now, PvP also got a little bit of a rework, nothing too fancy. All your PvP actions are actually unlocked right at level 1. To compensate for that, to make sure people don't have too many extra things available to them, all the enhanced actions that used to cost 3 action points are now 4 action points. So even though you start with everything, upgrading it does take an extra level. I guess that's to even it out from the way it was before. But if you weren't PvPing before because, oh, I didn't have Purify yet, or you didn't have all these abilities that are considered mandatory to most people in the Wolf's Den, you can now give it a shot. I'd still really recommend waiting for Frontlines, which has gotten its own tab, by the way, as well. All PvP actions now require 4 action points. Character titles have been adjusted to display the opponent's class or job. Striking dummies have been placed in the deck of the ship of the Wolf's Den, and your PvP abilities can be used there in case you need to test your PvP specific rotation, I guess, is what that's there for. Cover got a new animation. It'll actually put a tether between you and the person who's covered, so you'll know that it's working, I guess, which is good because I could never tell when I was being covered. Not that there's a lot of opportunities to use it. I know like turn 4 was a really good place to use it in case a black mage pulled aggro, but I don't know many places where cover is super useful, but it's just better to have the tether altogether. Now, everyone was saying that they were increasing mythology gains. Well, I think most of that's in 2.3, but they did do a little bit of it in 2.28. It's mostly just the Labyrinth of the Ancients going up to 150. And then the duty roulette for trials, high levels and low levels going up to 70, 70, and 100. I actually might do those because I need mythology for a few things, and according to some people, I need it for my Novus again as well. Not for the entire thing, but still. And then we have all of the Novuses. The Superior Enchanted Ink, I hear, is also for the Sphere Scrolls Mysterious Maps. The Fledgling Apkalu is actually you're going to see that later on. It's actually, you get a Fledgling Apkalu minion for doing all 80 sightseeing logs. Of course you get a minion. Why wouldn't you get a minion? And then we have the Sphere Scrolls here, and of course Alexandrite, which we are going to need as well. Baby Oppo now falls into the pool. It doesn't just get put in somebody's inventory. It actually is in the loot pool of the last boss of Brave Flock's hard mode. I've never even seen it drop, so it doesn't matter. Fantasia's no longer classified as unique. Falling items can be dyed. Limited limits and armory. Graphics for the falling headgear have been changed to make their lenses more translucent. Crafting log has been changed. Ability to filter by category. Subcommands can be used when selecting a crafting log entry, item, link, try on. The gathering log has been adjusted. Show them. The gathering log will now open the map of the corresponding area. Okay. The repair system, for those of you who didn't know, has been reworked. You can now repair while on any class. You don't need to actually switch to a crafting class in order to do the repairs. And on top of that, if you're repairing something yourself, you increase its durability by 100%. It needs to be at least 99%. You can't do this when it's at 100%. But when something's at 99% or lower, repairing it yourself with, grade whatever dark matter, grade 5, 4, whichever one you're using for whichever level range, it'll actually just increase its durability by a flat 100%. So you can get all the way up to 199% durability. And since you don't need to change classes to do it, it's actually going to be pretty useful to do self-repairs. Now, Square Enix, you just need to let us repair other people's gear. Make it happen. What else we got here? Any unbound items equipped when a player is incapacitated will be bound to that player. Okay, well, fair enough. A new gear preview feature has been added. They're getting there slowly with all the preview features. As you can see now, when you go to buy something, you can preview how it looks on you. It says exactly what it works for here. Shop windows, item exchange windows, like mythology, market, board, search items, and the crafting log. It's going to be available for additional windows in the future. I don't think it's going to work. I think specifically not going to work on dungeon drops and like coil drops. It just drops specifically. It only works from windows that you can open, like where you can purchase them. Soldiery, mythology, Alexandrite in the future, things, allied marks, I should say, in the future, and things like that. So hopefully we can get it later on. Although when I'm rolling on something, I'm not like, it's better for me, but I look ugly in it, so no thank you. New achievements have been added. A Star is Born, that's a relic weapon Novus. Out of Sight and Out of Sight of Mind is where you get the Fledgling Apkalu. That's for all 80 entries in the sightseeing log. Moving forward, Duty Finder has had some adjustments. Players can now queue while after forming a party. Now I noticed that it's only for expert and high level, which means we still can't do it for low. I don't know why you wouldn't do it for low level. I guess to avoid bullying of low level players, but I don't know. I feel like it would just have been a good idea to open it up to everybody, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see if there would have been any repercussions for not including the low level roulette, or for including the low level roulette, I should say. Now this one's weird. Players can no longer join a duty in progress if the allotted time for said duty has nearly expired. So if my friend is just boned because it took them till 10 minutes left to get to the last boss, and he needs to get whatever. They're waiting for a DPS to join. That's just not going to happen. That seems kind of silly. That seems like a silly... I don't understand it. Maybe somebody in the comments can enlighten me, because I don't understand the point in that. The number of elegant tomestones, mythology, and soldiery will now be displayed in the duty finder. Solid. That's actually it's just more information. It's not bad at all. The amount displayed is the amount of the total dungeon, killing every boss, not individual boss or anything. No longer change Grand Company allegiances in a queue, which is going to be for front lines later. Automatic sorting of the party member list, but of course you can resort it. You can actually change the sorting order via the UI settings in the character configuration interface, which is good for me. I'm going to put tanks first, healer second, DPS bottom, of course. Actually, I should probably do tanks at the bottom, so that way as a DPS I'm at the top. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. New marker for duties under the duty roulette category has been added to indicate when daily bonuses have been received. Okay, I'm cool with that. Players who are queued for a duty in a party can now give commendations to players outside of their party. Still can't award them to party members, though. Party Finder. The Party Finder has had a few more things. Players can now select multiple classes when entering search criteria. Players can no longer join a group party if they've been blacklisted by the recruiter. Okay, I didn't know that was a problem, but I can see why. In the event that the recruiter has been blacklisted, the Party Finder entry will be grayed out. Ooh, that's going to be awkward. It's also going to have flying text whenever you get a drop from enemies. Checkbox has been added. A lot of little tiny quality of life things. We're a little bit more than halfway through. Let me just burn through some of the more important details here. Position of retainer inventory window will now be saved. The cursor will no longer return to the main menu after closing a window in mouse mode. Players will no longer receive link shell invites from users on their blacklist. Okay, I could definitely use that. Invite to link shell subcommand has been restructured using an additional submenu, adding more menus. I guess that's okay, because it was kind of annoying how many menus would get taken up here. So this is one of the few occasions where adding an extra menu I actually find a little bit useful. Also, I've misclicked so many times when I had to go through everything. So online statuses have been adjusted. Users who are inactive for a fixed period of time will automatically change to away. I like that because I go AFK a lot. Ask anybody who tries sending me tells. I go AFK a lot. Period of time after which a status is activated can be changed. Any actions while made will revert the player away back to online. I'm probably away right now while I'm recording this video. Teleport requests from party members can now be saved. Huh. That's interesting. Okay, but when you log out, move to another area, or using the Ethernet. Okay, so that doesn't really do all too much. It just means that if you don't want to take a teleport right this second, but you still want to take it from the zone you're in to the zone you're going to, then it'll work. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Teleport can no longer be used when engaged with an enemy. I'm surprised it ever worked while you're engaged with an enemy. Names of certain Ethernet locations have been adjusted. Okay, good. Finally making it the names of the guilds, which made a lot more sense. Excuse me. Hover over the mouse. Oh yeah, so hovering the mouse over a fate will now show its progress. As you can see, it says progress 58%. I wasn't sure if they would go with that or if they would go with a progress bar like they already have for the fates, but I guess that's okay. 58%, good example. Players can now teleport to Aetherites while clicking on them. These are all great quality of life changes. Finally being able to hover over the weather. You know, I've tried doing this so many times because as someone who's colorblind, sometimes I have a hard time telling when when the shroud is really foggy or it's actually Odin weather. And I don't remember what the icon for Odin's weather looks like off the top of my head, so being able to hover over it, thank goodness. You're also going to need that for the sightseeing log a lot. Chat menus got a few new changes, such as the color and actually numbering which one if you drag them away from each other. The color of items when they're linked in the chat will actually represent the item a little bit better instead of just being the same color as the rest of the chat, which definitely was needed. I feel it was overlooked when it was first added in the first place. Macros using macro icon commands will now display the appropriate icon even if the associated skill cannot be used by your current class or job. Good, because I don't understand why that would ever be a thing in the first place. They added some new hotbar and cross hotbar text commands for anybody who is going to be using those. Pets, minions, mounts, general emotes, enemy signs, waymarks, things like that. The wait X command will no longer be executed when used on a line that incurs a text command error. Okay, that's fair enough. Going through, most of this is just text commands, and like players can dismount with L1 and R1 if they're using the controller, or left bumper, right bumper if you're using an Xbox controller. Pet stances are now displayed as status icons on the party member list. I guess that's fine. I might as well. I don't see any harm in that. It's not like that's going to bother other party members. Only the person with the pet is going to see that anyway. So it's actually good information if you ask me. The companions do it, so why not the actual pets? Display name. Now this is good. It's actually able to show the difference more accurately when somebody's in a different zone versus in the same zone and dead. As you can see, players who are dead have their names grayed out and their HP's at 0. And then the person who's in another zone, they have no level. It shows their HP and their MP is question mark, question mark, question mark, and their names are not grayed out. So that's actually good. They add some help commands for the recast time, manner of class and job actions. HUD layout function has been adjusted. Size of the hotbar and pet hotbar frames have been adjusted. Okay, I didn't actually notice that before. I'm going to have to go check that out. Guess I just wasn't paying attention. Titles can now be displayed under character names. Yes. 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 Too bad I have no good titles. I'm going to see some people with awesome titles, and I have just bad titles, in my opinion. New poses have been added for change pose. Your most recent selected pose will now be saved. I actually really like that. Random pose cycling has been added. Characters standing idle for extended period of time can now cycle through pose animations at random. The emote window has been changed as follows. Emotes have been sorted into the following tabs. Good, because looking through the emote tab before was just mind-boggling. Hunting objectives are now prioritized over fates when displayed in the recommendations window. Thank goodness, man. I don't understand why fates were always so highly recommended. Signs have been adjusted as follows. A message will be displayed in the log window when a pet or companion is marked with a sign. A message will no longer be displayed when someone is marked with a sign in the wolf's den. I know why they're doing this one in particular with the wolf's den. You can actually see the name of the person you're marking in your chat log whenever you do that. I noticed that the other day when I was PvPing. Leaves category in the books of the trials are now distinguished between leave quests, grant company leave quests, nice little quality of life things, and some new options, some control settings, some UI settings. It would take me forever to look through all of this, so we're just going to scroll down. We're almost done with everything. The option to skip playback of previously viewed transportation cutscenes will now apply to Sahak and Beast Tribe questlines. I don't know why it didn't before, and I believe we also somewhere in all this have the ability to skip all previously viewed cutscenes. I know that was in the thing. Thank goodness. Because I'm tired of seeing the Binding Coil Bahamut cutscenes and having to skip like 3 or 4 of them every single time. Gamepad settings and other settings also got a few things. Keybind interfaces, if you wanna put the sightseeing log on your actual hotbars, you can do that now. Default keybinds, social party will now automatically take you to party. I'm okay with that. Certain hairstyles display hair in the front properly. New active text has been added. Certain sound effects played through the DualShock 4 speakers will now play through the television speakers. And screenshots can now be taken when customizing your character's appearance. Good. I know why they couldn't before. And then, excuse me, they resolved a ton of issues. I don't know if any of these issues were ones that I was having trouble with. And known issues, an issue wherein returning to the crafting log after crafting will not save NQ materials. I'm assuming they will fix that soon. Overall, big quality of life patch. It's just going to be nice. These are things that, you know, we feel should have been in the game a long time ago. Better late than never, I say, and it's definitely something appreciated while we're waiting for 2.3. Looking forward to doing my Novus upgrades. When the Atma nerfs come out, I'll probably do another Atma even. Those probably won't happen for a while still, though, so I'm in no rush, really. And on top of that, the sightseeing log, which so far has had some pretty good puzzles to it, even in the first 20. They're not too hard to figure out, but they're also, they're still a little bit cryptic. Not too difficult, though. So I'll be doing videos on that, on the Novus, on the sightseeing logs, all 80 of them, sooner or later. But I gotta go get to live streaming, because I actually want to live stream myself looking for the sightseeing log and working on the Novus weapons. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about this patch in the comments below. Remember, E3, June 10th and June 12th, there's a live letter for each of those days. I'll include links to that information in the description below. If you're going, good luck on your Leviathan t-shirts, because I really want one. Somebody send me a Leviathan t-shirt, please. I'm sorry. I'm not going to beg. Also, be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and follow me on Twitch, where, well, I'm going to go live stream. So I'll see you guys there. Anyway, guys, until next time, take care.